In a grand feline society, Cinderpaws lived a life of servitude. She was a beautiful calico cat, but her stepmother was cruel. The stepmother was a haughty Persian, always demanding. Cinderpaws also had 2 spoiled stepsisters. One was a fluffy Siamese, the other a grumpy tabby. Cinderpaws cleaned litter boxes all day long. She untangled yarn, a never-ending task. She endured the endless demands of her stepfamily. They treated her like a common house cat. The annual royal catnip ball was approaching. It was a prestigious event for feline bachelors. Eligible cats sought potential mates at the ball. Cinderpaws could only dream of attending the ball. Her stepmother was determined to find a royal match. She wanted her own daughters to marry well. The stepmother forbade Cinderpaws from attending. She didn't want Cinderpaws to steal the spotlight. Cinderpaws was trapped in her dreary existence. She longed for a taste of the glamorous feline world. The stepsisters began preparing their outfits. The Siamese chose a fluffy, white gown. The tabby grumbled about wearing anything fancy. The stepmother supervised their preparations closely. She wanted everything to be perfect for the ball. Cinderpaws watched them from the shadows. Her heart ached with longing and sadness. She imagined herself dancing with a handsome cat, but her dreams were just that, dreams. The stepmother called Cinderpaws to clean the stairs. She had spilled catnip tea on the carpet. Cinderpaws sighed and grabbed a scrub brush. Her hands were rough and calloused from work. She scrubbed the carpet until it sparkled. The stepmother inspected her work critically. "Not good enough," she snapped. Cinderpaws felt tears welling up in her eyes. She bit her lip and continued to scrub. The stepsisters laughed at her misfortune. They enjoyed seeing Cinderpaws suffer. The day of the ball finally arrived. The stepmother and sisters primped and preened. They spent hours on their fur and makeup. Cinderpaws helped them get ready. Silently, she fastened their collars and brushed their tails. The carriage arrived to take them to the ball. The stepmother smirked at Cinderpaws. "Have a good time cleaning," she said. Cinderpaws was left alone in the empty house. She sat by the window and watched them leave. Tears streamed down her calico face. She wished she could go to the ball too. She imagined the music and the dancing. She closed her eyes and made a wish. A wish for a night of happiness and freedom. A wish to escape her dreary life. A wish to be noticed and loved. She knew it was just a silly dream, but she couldn't help but hope. The house was quiet and still. Only the sound of her soft sobs remained. Cinderpaws watched her stepfamily depart for the royal catnip ball, tears welling in her eyes. She retreated to the dusty attic, her heart heavy with longing and despair. Suddenly, a shimmering light filled the room, startling Cinderpaws. A tiny, radiant figure materialized, her fairy godmouse squeaking with reassurance. "Don't despair, Cinderpaws. You shall go to the ball," the fairy godmouse declared. With a flick of her miniature wand, she targeted a plump pumpkin in the corner. The pumpkin swelled, transforming into a magnificent plush cat carriage. 4 mice, previously scurrying, now stood tall as elegant carriage drivers. Cinderpaws gasped as her tattered rags began to shimmer and change. The rags morphed into a breathtaking gown of softer silk and feathers. Shimmering fish scales adorned the dress, catching the light with every movement. The fairy godmouse presented Cinderpaws with delicate glass slippers. "But remember, Cinderpaws," the fairy godmouse warned, her voice serious. "You must return before the final stroke of midnight. The magic will fade, and all will return to as it was." Cinderpaws promised to heed the warning. her heart filled with excitement. She climbed into the luxurious carriage, the mouse drivers snapping their tiny reins. The carriage sped towards the royal palace, a beacon of light in the night. As Cinderpaws entered the ballroom, a hush fell over the assembled feline guests. All eyes were drawn to her radiant beauty and captivating grace. Prince Charming, a handsome Maine Coon, was immediately smitten. He approached Cinderpaws, his eyes sparkling with admiration. "May I have this dance?" he purred, extending a paw towards her. Cinderpaws curtsied and accepted his invitation, her heart fluttering. They danced the night away, lost in each other's company and conversation. The music swirled around them, and the world seemed to fade away. Cinderpaws laughed freely, enjoying the magical evening. Prince Charming was captivated by her wit and gentle spirit. He found himself falling deeply in love with the mysterious calico cat. But as the clock tower began to chime, Cinderpaw's eyes widened in alarm. The first stroke of midnight echoed through the ballroom. "I must go!" Cinderpaws exclaimed, pulling away from the prince. Before Prince Charming could react, she turned and fled the ballroom. She raced through the palace halls, her heart pounding in her chest. The magic began to weaken, her gown losing its shimmer. She burst from the palace doors and leaped into her carriage. The mouse drivers whipped the reins, urging the carriage onward. As the final stroke of midnight reverberated, the carriage vanished. Cinderpaws found herself back in the dusty attic, her rags restored. The pumpkin lay on the floor, and the mice scurried back to their holes. All that remained of the magical night was a single shimmering fish scale. She clutched the scale tightly, a reminder of her enchanting evening. Back in the ballroom, Prince Charming was distraught at her sudden departure. He searched frantically for Cinderpaws, but she was nowhere to be found. All that remained was a single shimmering fish scale on the dance floor. He picked up the scale, his heart filled with determination. "I will find her," he vowed, his voice echoing through the empty ballroom. He would search every corner of the feline kingdom. No matter how long it took, he would find the cat who stole his heart. The fish scale was his only clue, a shimmering beacon of hope. He held it close, dreaming of their dance. He remembered her laughter, her grace. He knew he could not rest until they met again. The kingdom waited, holding its breath. Would the prince find his mysterious love? Cinderpaws, meanwhile, hid her joy. She still had the memory of the dance and the hope of seeing him again. The fish scale sparkled softly in her paw, a secret promise of a future.